in the competition. But you can use this diagram when you prepare for the interview. Okay, what did I do? This is what interviewers are usually looking for. This is what they will ask for. So if you already know what they're going to ask for, then you can prepare your answers when they ask. You can say, oh, okay, I did this. Okay, I was in this situation, I did this action, and here are the results. Here's what happened. Okay, so maybe let's go back to the dating situation, guys and girls, okay? So you have a situation and a task. The task is, okay, let's go on a date, all right? Okay, the action is, we watched a movie. Okay, but the result was, the movie was bad, and maybe the guy wasn't very nice. So the result was, you guys broke up. So you need to focus on good results. All right. So any questions here at this point? Yes. The knowledge part. Yeah, we can go back.
Since not every student have a good grade during their college years,
yeah.
What should we do if we have bad grades, not good grades in college, and what should we do to impress the interviewers?
Okay. Well, this is a good question because I think some interviewers care and some interviewers don't care as much. Maybe they'll ask you, okay, why do you have low grades? Now, if you have a trend of increasing grades, then this is okay. For example, maybe when you first start, you have low grades, but it goes higher and higher. You can say, oh, I have a trend of increasing grades. Okay, maybe my grade is low now, but I worked very hard to get this. What they care about is not actually the number. They care about is, did you work hard? So maybe you can say, I worked really hard and I always try to improve my grade if they ask me about it. So this knowledge part is not necessarily grades. Knowledge could also be, it could also be in terms of, do you have any sort of a certification? For example, maybe you did some kind of financial test or something, or you have an insurance salesperson's certification. This is all along with knowledge. It's not just grades. Okay. Any other questions? All right, then we'll move on. Okay, now during the interview process, we have a number of things going on here. And usually when you walk in, you'll usually, okay, greet the interviewer, hey, hello, how are you, nice to meet you. And what you want to do when you go into the interview, you need to prepare an extra set of your resume. Maybe you want 2 copies. It's good if you know how many interviewers there are going to be, because maybe there's 3 interviewers, maybe there's 2, maybe there's only 1. So you need to know this beforehand. But when you go in, just make sure to say, welcome, hi, my name is Ryan, nice to meet you. Okay? And then you sit down usually, okay? Give them the resume. And I like to emphasize that you really need to stay positive. Don't be too neutral in your emotions. You need to be bright-eyed and make eye contact with the other person, okay? When you're in an interview, you shouldn't, I'm not saying you need to control the interview, but a lot of the direction is caused by you. You know what I'm saying? Because the answer you give based on the question will allow the interviewer to ask another related question. So basically, what you say in the interview can control the profession, can control what's going on in a certain sense. In a certain sense. So what you want to do is almost lead the interviewer to ask about your positive traits. So you lead them by asking a question, okay? So maybe, for example, usually the first question is, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself. Now, you can say anything, but what you can do is you can talk about, you can focus on what your relationship is with this company and what things you can offer immediately. Okay? And then he'll ask, okay, well, what can you offer? How can you prove that you have what we need? Oh, okay, here's what I have to say. Okay, I've been in many leadership competitions, or I've been in all kinds of social clubs. So there's many things that you can direct in your interview. So don't just think, oh, okay, they're always controlling what's going on. So you have power in the interview. Don't always be very passive. Okay. Okay, and oftentimes in the interview process, after they've asked their questions, okay, ask about your work history. Maybe it's not work history. Maybe it's just your club history. Okay, they're going to ask you, okay, well, what do you want to do in the future? Maybe it's not as important when you're doing an internship in the summer, but when you have a real job, they're going to ask you, what do you want to do in 5 years? And you need to think about these things. Okay, what do I want to do in 5 years? Okay, what do I want to do in 10 years? Do I still want to be with this company? They may want to know these questions, okay? And the conclusion is, usually they'll ask you, do you have any questions for our company? So you need to know what to ask. Maybe you need to do some research, okay? Know what to ask about the company. Any questions?
What are good questions?
Usually good questions are asked. Maybe you can ask about the future developments. What does the company plan? Or maybe, I think it really depends on the nature of the company, but usually, if the interviewee is very aggressive, maybe you can ask, okay, I've seen that the economy has been in a downturn. What does the company plan to do in terms of this economic downturn? If the market goes down, what do you have planned? Or maybe you could say, in recent years, many people have focused on environmental practices. What actions has the company been taking to maybe just show some interest in the company. Show that you've done your research. You know about the company. You say, oh, I've noticed there's a new project. There's a new project going on in the company, and I'm very interested in this. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about it? Okay. Yes.
About the future plans.
Yes.
If I plan to maybe work for only 2 or 3 years, and I'm planning to study abroad, and if the interviewers ask me, what's your plan in the next 5 years, should I tell them the truth or?
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question first. Are you applying for an MA? What kind of position are you applying for?
Not sure.
Okay, well usually you don't want to let them know this. You say, oh, I want to say this. Maybe you're not necessarily lying, but if they know you're going to leave, they're not going to give you resources. They're not going to say, okay, we want to train this guy because he's going to stay in our company. Do you know what I mean? So if you say, yeah, I plan to stay in Taiwan for 2 years, but then 2 years later I'm going to the USA to study. The company's going to think, well, we can let this guy do sales. Okay, maybe you can do sales.